I'm Kat.
And I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy,
a tipsy night class teaching the oddities and curiosities you never learned in school.
Where are you taking us on this learning journey, Hayley?
We will be going to an American castle.
Ooh.
Where will
is
you
it in Kentucky?
It's not in Kentucky,
okay,
but it is American on so many levels.
I'm excited. My mind went to Vanderpump Rules, where Brittany and Jax got married.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds
it's a
fitting.
Kentuckian castle.
I wish it was in Kentucky. I'm just imagining a bunch of fried chicken.
Ooh, a castle made of fried chicken. I don't even eat fried chicken. I don't know why.
But you could marvel
at
it.
It would be
a
impressive.
sight to see.
I went to the Corn Palace in South Dakota, and it's a palace made of corn. That was a sight to see.
Was it big?
It was big. And every year they take it all down and rebuild it out of the new corn.
That's impressive.
It's very cool. It's like one of the two things to do in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And we did
true.
that and the other thing, which is Mount Rushmore.
Ah, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think they should just combine both of the Dakotas.
Yeah, I agree. And also the Corn Palace was way better than Mount Rushmore.
Every time it's going to be.
Mount Rushmore was like dusty and hot and like way too big. I was weirded out. Have you been there?
Yes.
I was weirded out about like not the mountain being too big, but just like why are there so many gift stores and like these wide pavilions? Like this
capitalism,
they're doing
baby.
Too much.
They need to revamp Mount Rushmore. We need to get some.
I need some new blood on Mount Rushmore.
Yes, we need,
and probably some indigenous representation since it was like stolen to make Mount Rushmore and put white people's faces on it.
And Lady Gaga.
Yeah, that too. And RuPaul.
I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, that's all we need.
It's more
what I want to see.
More representative than those old. All I know on Mount Rushmore is George Washington, right? And there's 3 others.
Abe Lincoln?
I don't know. There's no way to know. We don't have internet right now, so
Benjamin
we can't check.
Franklin?
Teddy Roosevelt?
Probably him.
Obama?
It's not all presidents, is it? Because Benjamin is not a president. Well, it's like I suggested Benny Frank, and I was like, but I don't know.
Thomas Edison?
Maybe.
Caesar?
Who cares? Honestly, not me. I will never go back.
Why did they do that? They like build shit like Mount Rushmore, and they're like, no, we can't forgive student debt
for no reason.
Ridiculous.
It was the dumbest place I've ever been, and the Corn Palace was one of the coolest. So shout out South Dakota.
I need to go back. We went to Fargo and saw Ed Sheeran. And that's what we did. R.I.P.
Just kidding.
Did he get canceled?
Today I was thinking about making a TikTok about, I forget it was some celebrity, and I forget the joke I was going to make, but it had to do with them dying. And I was just like laughing at how funny it would be if it like caught on and then people thought they were dead.
I love it when you make jokes. Like,
wow. Thanks.
Okay, that
was really rude.
Well, no,
it sounded backhanded.
Okay, I didn't mean it to be backhanded. It's just like you're so funny, and I love when you make jokes. I don't know what else to say.
Alec is like adjusting this new sound, and it just popped in my ear and made me want to cry.
And I feel like you're more on the introverted side for you. So for you to be like giggling to yourself about a joke that you want to post on TikTok, it just makes me happy.
I couldn't even post it too because I'm locked out of the Night Classy TikTok.
It's because I tried to get into my Holly Sancha account, and they're both set up with the same email, and I couldn't recover my account. So I'll give you the new password to TikTok.
Okay. Please do.
And there's no meaning behind it. It's just my go-to.
Okay.
So don't judge me when
I'm going to read into this password.
Wait, I should just tell you now because it's so
no,
funny.
You can't tell me on the air.
Don't it.
What?
No, don't give him more work. He doesn't need
I was going to say, don't do it.
Yeah, just text it to me.
Okay.
Or just give it to everyone. No one's going to hack our TikTok, right?
People would.
I don't think anyone would. I trust them.
Are you kidding me?
I trust everyone who listens to this podcast too much.
That's so true.
Yeah.
You like triangulate yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just texted it in the group chat.
Okay, thank you.
And this is a common theme for my passwords.
And it's your email address too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
this is great content.
Okay, sorry.
Really good stuff.
Okay, you want to be on this podcast? You can take over because it's too hot in here and I don't want to be in here because it's too hot. So you can do it if you want.
I was just loving the riffing on email addresses and passwords.
You know what, Alec? You taught us everything we know, so this is your fault.
This is you. Kat, what are you teaching us?
I will be telling you about a Roman emperor who was hated viscerally during his time, but every reason why people hated him back then is why I love him today, and
cool.
I hope you all will love him too.
Okay.
He's amazing.
I'm intrigued.
He's the moment.
A man who's turned the tides of
He was just ahead of his time. Rome was not ready for him, especially in the second century. Yeah.
They did a lot of things.
They did the most things. We'll get to some of them. Before we get started, we do need to plug our live show at the Good Vibes Comedy Fest coming up this Saturday.
Indeed. We are headliners, you guys. That is so insane. It will be April 20th. We're going on at 10 p.m.
And we thought the show was going to be an hour. No. It's an hour and 45 minutes. It goes until 11:45. I'm going to have to train my body to stay up that late because I don't remember the last time I have.
I'm going to be convulsing on stage from all the espresso that I'm going to need to take.
Yeah, I'm going to be drinking Red Bull and vodka.
Espresso martini.
I do not trust an espresso martini from High Tone. Sorry, High Tone.
No, I'm not saying from High Tone.
Okay.
I'm just saying bootleg it in our car.
Oh, make it ourselves?
Yeah.
Okay, I would make one myself.
We need to get those bracelets that double as flasks.
We don't need that. Oh, you know what? We're VIPs. I bet we could bring our own booze.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't have to buy shit.
For sure be having fun, regardless of whatever substances we choose to partake in. But yeah, we're headlining High Tone here in Memphis. I've got people coming from out of town. Shout out to you if you're making the drive. And we have just a few free tickets left. Probably none after.
Yeah, I don't even know
Thursday
if we
have
any free tickets left now. So buy your tickets.
Yeah, for sure. Buy your tickets. We'll be there. We're performing with Brittany Brave is joining us as a guest, in addition to 12 other shows. It's 30 comedians total from all over the country. So it is going to be an absolute blast.
I'm so excited. And I'm actually excited we're going on late because let's be honest, if we were going on early, I would probably leave right after our set and go home and sleep. But I'm going to be forced to be there and listen to everyone for several hours, which I'm actually looking forward to.
I'm going to be
good
taking
comedy.
Such a fat nap Saturday afternoon. It's going to be the balls.
I still haven't done my notes, so I might be writing my notes Saturday
You haven't done
afternoon.
your notes?
No.
Oh my God.
I have to do them the day of.
Chosen your topic?
I chose my topic, I think.
I thought you think. I got my notes done. We're going to
Good for you. Do you want to do mine?
No.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to hopefully recording this show so that we don't have to do notes next week.
We'll see. All right. Well, shall we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Sextus Varius Avitus Bastianus was born sometime between the year 203 and 204 into a royal family of Roman Syria. Because of his family's ties to the priesthood, as a child, he was elevated to the status of high priest to the sun god Elagabalus. From his actions later in life, we can surmise that Bassianus was very dedicated to the priesthood. He was glad to be there. He loved his god Elagabalus and probably did not see the trajectory that his life would end up taking. When Bassianus was around 14 years old, the Roman Emperor Caracalla was assassinated while peeing on the side of the road. That was very rude.
He turned his back. You can't provide opportunities.
Who
like
assassinates a man while he's peeing? That is so mean.
It's an easy shot.
That's true. I probably would because I wouldn't know how to do it otherwise. You got to get them while they're distracted.
I know. I'd be shutting my eyes and then firing the bow.
I'm not a fighter, okay?
Yeah. How do you assassinate someone in the year, 220 at this point or
probably
something?
Probably a sword.
Just literally
Did they have iron? I don't even know. A succession battle ensued, and a man named Macrinus came out on top and was made emperor. To secure his reign, he swiftly exiled his opposers, who included Julia Mesa, who was Bassianus's grandmother. Julia Mesa reminds me of Cersei. You don't fucking mess with Julia Mesa. So she is exiled back to Syria and immediately starts plotting how to get this asshole who exiled her out of the throne, I guess. I don't know what I was trying to say.
Get your ass up out of my fancy chair.
That's correct.
Child.
So what she does, and this is genius, she starts to spread rumors that her grandson, Bassianus, he looks a lot like the emperor that was just killed. Like a little too much like him. Like maybe...
Like scandal?
Yeah, like maybe that's his bastard son.
Hey, only one way to know, 23andMe.
And they didn't have that. I know that for a fact. And luckily for her, Bassianus, it did look a lot like Caracalla, so the rumors worked. And it also helped that Macrinus was a huge asshole and the military hated him, so they were willing to take like any out they had to get rid of him. So they kill Macrinus. He's defeated, he's executed, and Bassianus wrote to the senators of Rome declaring himself emperor.
That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, I see an opportunity. I'm next in line. Is that true?
Well, if he is the son of Callicallus.
Oh.
Because that's what everyone
Yeah,
is
yeah.
saying. So he's like, hi, it's me. And when he did that, he took on a new name. As was custom in Rome, you would name yourself when you became emperor after former emperors that you admired. So the name he chose was Marcus Aurelius Antonius Augustus, but he would go by Elagabalus. Elagabalus. I practiced this name so much today.
Way too much.
I know. I'm sorry.
We just have
to get through this exposition
at any time.
So we started this story with I don't even remember.
You don't have to do that because it's not going to do it.
We started this story with Bassianus. He's 14 years old. He's now emperor, and he is now called Elagabalus.
No shit.
And I'm going to say Elagabalus like 100 times, so get used to it.
Elagus on my balls.
Also, I spelled Elagabalus like differently every time I typed it. So I had to go through my notes and fix it like 100 times today.
You know what makes me so fucking mad when spell check on Google Docs acts like it doesn't know what you're trying to say.
Right? I spelled assassination the other day with one less S than it was supposed to. And it was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, bitch, you do know what I'm talking about.
And then it's like tries to give you a link. Like, why am I not seeing recommendations for this word? I tried to spell amateur 10 different ways before I looked it up. A-M-A-T-U-R. A-M-A-E-T-U-R.
Why is Google search a better spell check than spell check?
And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's Google Drive.
Google is the common denominator.
Do better. What the
Seriously.
actual fuck?
It's infuriating.
Do you ever like search bar stuff and be like, why am I not getting the results I want? And then you like look at what you actually typed and it's like not a single word is English.
It drives me crazy to watch you type, Alec, because it is completely incomprehensible.
And like
It's so accurate though. There's something about the ADHD brain that's like, I have to get this in as fast as fucking possible.
Yeah.
And there's no time.
And my Google Chrome, and like it doesn't have the space in the proper spot for the Chrome inside an Apple. And so it's like I put a period every time I want to put a space. So it's all like one word.
You start coding something.
Oh,
it's
no,
just
there's
stressful. There's a lawnmower going off
outside.
now.
No, should we pause? All right, we're back after the lawnmower fiasco. So the Roman Senate legitimized Elagabalus as Caracalla's son and declared him emperor of Rome. So suddenly this 14-year-old boy is the emperor of Rome. And like any 14-year-old boy, he makes some big choices.
Yeah, I feel like 14 years old is the average age for like emperors at this time when they come into their kinghood.
I mean, maybe
That
not the
are
average.
really
It's
old.
probably the ones we hear about because they go down in infamy because 14-year-old boys aren't known for their decision-making prowess.
Yeah.
It's probably like the thing they're most not known for.
Yeah, I was so mild as a teenager, and even my 14-year-old self, I'm like, oh, You should not have done that.
I know. At 14, my social anxiety, it was so bad that like I didn't speak to anyone.
She was a mute.
Yeah, I was basically that.
I thought you were a mean girl.
What? Why would you think that?
Because you've said it
I'm
yourself.
not a mean girl.
You said, yeah, I was kind of a mean girl.
In my head.
Okay, fair. Me
Yeah.
too.
So he makes some choices that would ultimately make him one of the most unpopular rulers in Roman history. And because he was so unpopular, before we like even move on, it's really important to take any historical claims about him with a hefty dose of salt.
My favorite.
Because people like wrote all kinds of stuff about him just to say bad things about him, when in reality most of it probably wasn't even true. And I left out a lot of stuff that to me just sounded really fake, like obvious slander, which no one knows for sure what's true and what's not, because none of us were here in 215 BC.
Sure.
AD. But, you know, just like everything I'm going to say comes from the historical record, whether or not that's true.
The tabloids.
Yes.
Imagine if
the People magazine.
Yeah, TMZ people got published 1,800 years from now.
Exactly. One claim we aren't sure about is that during the beginning part of his reign, Elagabalus had a painting of himself sent to Rome to be hung above a statue of the goddess Victoria. And this was because he was spending winter outside of the city. He was doing, I think, kind of like a little press tour around Italy and the surrounding areas. And he wanted to give the Roman senators time to see what he looked like and adjust. Because
what if he had like a jester cut a hole in his mouth and like try to win over the people?
I mean, you could probably write that down and people would believe it. No, he wanted to give them time to adjust to what he looked like and how he dressed. Because,
was he ugly?
No, but he was from Syria. So he had like a little bit of a different style. He was like... He would wear traditional Syrian clothes, not Roman fashion. So, you know, he didn't want to shock anyone when he first arrived, which makes sense. However, if the painting existed as described, it would have left a really bad taste in the senators' mouths because it was hung above this important goddess who they would leave offerings to. So it would kind of feel like when they were honoring and leaving offerings to Victoria, they had Elagabalus looking down on them, and it was like they were giving him these honors.
Yeah, they're like, Elagabalus, you're not part of this.
No, go home. So before even arriving to Rome, Elagabalus was not winning any friends. And when he did come to Rome, among his entourage was his mother, Julia Solemius, and his grandmother, Julia Mesa. Elagabalus was really close with both of them. They were his number one supporters. They helped him ascend to the throne. And so to repay them, he allowed them into the Senate and gave them senatorial titles. Now, this was a huge no-no.
Is it still nepotism if the child is giving the parent and grandparents positions?
I think so. But the problem with it is they were women, and women had never been allowed into the Senate before.
With women.
No, we are misogynists in ancient
too
Rome.
Shrill.
They're so annoying. Just kidding. So this...
I'm not.
Shut up. Yes, you are. Don't yell at us. This really made a lot of people mad. That was like the main beef everyone had with him, is that he brought women into the Senate. And Elagabalus himself was described as being feminine in nature. He wore these luxurious silk robes and like purples and burgundies and adorned himself with a bunch of women's jewelry. He was fabulous. This also made people mad and probably jealous. Another move of his was to make his sun god Elagabal the chief deity in Rome, and he named himself chief priest because he already was a priest of this deity. He had a temple built called the Elagabalium, which housed the god, who was embodied by this conical black meteorite that kind of had like some pieces sticking off of it. And this was really weird to the Romans because they portrayed their gods with like these elaborately carved statues. And now we have a rock as the chief deity of Rome.
I love /hate when other religions hate on other religions for being quote unquote ridiculous or weird.
It's so funny.
Like, it's all weird.
And
you guys.
like your statues are also a rock. Like it's just carved
with flaccid dicks.
Yeah. And a lot of the criticism was like he was worshiping this rock as if it came from heaven. And like it literally did. It's a meteor. Like it came from the sky.
Yeah, bitch.
Shut up.
It's a space rock.
Yeah. Most shocking of all about this whole religion thing, though, was the display that Elagabalus put on each summer solstice. And he dedicated summer solstice to his god Elagabal. And he had the meteor before the summer solstice festival, like at the start of it, put in a chariot and pulled into town. And like the god is supposed to be like inside of this meteor. So they're like parading the god around town. And I'm just going to read a description of this event from one of his contemporaries. Okay. Quote, "A 6-horse chariot carried the divinity. The horse is huge and flawlessly white with expensive gold fittings and rich ornaments. No one held the reins and no one rode in the chariot. The vehicle was escorted as if the god himself were the charioteer. Elagabalus ran backward in front of the chariot, facing the god and holding the horse's reins. He made the whole journey in reverse fashion, looking up at the face of his god."
That is commitment.
Yeah.
I
like,
would
how
trip
did you run so fast?
hard?
Because the temple, like they would go from the temple to the town square on these, like, I imagine cobblestone roads, and he's running backward in front of horses.
You know what this is giving?
What?
This is giving Tamlin in A Court of Thorns and Roses.
How dare you compare Elagabalus to fucking Tamlin?
I'm just saying,
Tamlin.
it's something he would do.
It is.
I forget what their festival was called, but
yeah,
I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. After they arrived in the town square, free food was given out to everybody, which in fairness, like the Roman Senate and like the higher ups talked about this as if it was like the dumbest thing they'd ever seen. But this festival was really popular with the common people because of the free food.
Yeah. Don't you want the common people to be on your side?
Right.
Like,
so true.
Don't be an asshole.
And just in general, Elagabalus was known for his generosity and love of gift giving. He introduced Rome to the practice of giving chances. And what this meant was he would have these banquets. And at the banquet, every guest would have a spoon to eat with, obviously, but they would like randomly get their spoon. And on each spoon was a number, and like usually for each banquet it would be, I think, the same number, and then a random item, and that would be what their gift was.
The spoon with a number.
So it would be, so for example, it would be like 10 camels is what one person would get, or 10 pounds of gold, 10 ostriches, 10 eggs, 10 pounds of
But
lead.
they all had the same number?
I think they did all have the same number, but it would be different every time. And one time someone got 10 flies. So, like, it was kind of funny. Like, you'd, like, compare what you got.
It's like a lottery.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's different items, same number.
Different items, same number. So, you could get the 10 pounds of gold, and the person next to you would get, like, 10 piles of cow shit. And it would be, like, hilarious joke.
I would be so upset. I would go in there winning, expecting to win.
Yeah.
And I would walk out a loser.
And this was actually like a popular thing he did. This practice stuck around for, I think I read, like 1,000 years or something.
Oh my God,
People
it is
liked
fun.
this.
I would be like, can I keep the spoon if it's a good spoon? Do you guys have favorite utensils? Like utensils that you prefer?
Our
to use?
utensils are from a set, so they're pretty much all the same.
But there's a good
So, like,
set and an older
size-wise?
set.
Yeah,
there's a cheap set.
There's a cheap set that
Yeah.
we bought, and there's a good set that my mom bought for us. So there's, I guess they're...
I always use the smaller utensils.
Bingo. That's what I was trying to get
That's
at.
your ADHD from both
Neurodivergence
of you.
for sure. It's got to be little, and the handle can't. If I can't set my spoon in a bowl and it not tip over,
Yeah,
that's just
it's gotta
poor
be properly
design.
weighted.
Yeah, but little ones all the way.
As kids, they're like growing up, we had one spoon that was like, it had more of like a scoop than the others. It was like round instead of like tapered, and it had more of a scoop, and it had a little bird engraved on it. That was the good spoon that my brother and I used to fight over.
Oh my God. We used to fight over the airplane spoon.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't even like it because it was way too like deep and narrow, but it was cool because it was an airplane.
Yeah.
And if
And
I'm
your brother
remembering-
wanted
And my
it.
brother wanted it. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was like a spoon straw. So you could
Ooh,
like
you could
suck
drink the
in
cereal milk.
Yeah. Which is not something I would do now as an adult.
Another passion of Elagabalus was spectator sports. He hosted a number of gladiator fights, naval battles, and chariot races. Some were more creative than others. One naval battle spectacle was held in a pool of red wine instead of water.
Oh my God, just lap it up.
I know. Another time he raced a chariot drawn by elephants up Vatican Hill and also
Dang.
destroyed a bunch of tombs in the process.
Oops.
Did I do that? Once he hosted a private race in the Circus Maximus where the chariots were drawn by camels instead of horses.
We need to bring back Roman names. When people are like, I'm going to name my baby something vintage from like the 1900s, no. We need to go back to the 200s.
Yeah.
That's what my
Maximus.
sister did that with Emperor
With
Hadrian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Be true vintage. Be antique. Be in antiquity.
Cassius. Is that a Roman name?
I think so.
I want to name my kid Elagabalus Og.
I like it.
Elagabalus.
Goggle boggle.
It's actually our TikTok password.
But we can't spell it.
And with the sports, it was not just the sports themselves that Elagabalus was interested in. He was also very interested in the athletes. He had affairs with a number of charioteers who were male, of course. One named Heracles, he had a very long running affair with and wanted to marry him and make him Caesar. He didn't end up marrying Heracles, but he did marry another male athlete named August in history. And he also bestowed upon him roles in leadership and gave him a lot of power and political influence.
Oh my God. It's so crazy his last name was History. That makes me
Yeah.
think what was the meaning of history in the year 200?
I don't think they had a
there
concept
wasn't
of
that
it.
much. I mean, there was a ton, but
Elagabalus did not only have relationships with men, he also had a string of 4 marriages and divorces with women. His most controversial wife was a Vestal virgin named Julia Aquilia Severa.
hey, your namesake, your namasake.
Yeah.
What is a Vestal virgin?
Well, so in Rome, Vestal virgins were holy women, and the whole thing was that they took a vow of chastity. And for one to break her vows, she was supposed to be executed by live burial. So it was like a
Damn.
really big deal for the Vestal virgins to have sex. So the fact that he had one as his wife and was having
D
sex
better be
with
worth
her,
it.
it was like people felt really disrespected by that and upset, which, okay.
But he could protect her because of his status.
Yeah, I don't know that he did, but he could. And he married her because he believed that she was a holy woman. He was a high priest. So together they would have divine children. Elagabalus's foreign religious practices, inclusion of women in the Senate, and also his sexuality caused a lot of unrest among the people in power in Rome, and they wanted him out. And his power-hungry, backstabbing bitch Grandma Julia was willing to play
Wait,
ball.
I thought she put him in power.
She did. I think it's all about having putting herself in the best position. So she puts him in
Yeah.
power so that she gets
What
a
does
place.
she get out of
And
it?
then he starts losing in popularity. She kind of sees the writing on the wall, right? She's like, okay, if they depose him, I'm also fucked. So she starts plotting to get rid of him.
The greatest betrayals come from those you know and love.
Yeah, it's usually a member
That
of
was
the
dramatic,
family.
but it's true. We keep it in the family as far as betrayal goes.
Most people do. So she convinces Elagabalus to make his 15-year-old cousin and her grandson from a different one of her daughters his name is Severus Alexander, make him Elagabalus' heir and give him the title of Caesar. So just make him the next in line because I guess he didn't have any sons. She's like, we just want to keep it in the fam.
We gotta do
case.
family planning.
That's right. It's good to have a plan. And so Elagabalus agrees, but then he realizes that everyone loves Alexander and fucking hates him. So he starts to smell the shit. He's like, oh no, this is not looking good for me. Maybe there's a plot underfoot.
That's smart. I would have been so oblivious
Same.
and so naive.
It would never occur to me. I mean, I guess back then you would kind of understand that everyone's trying to kill you if you're emperor, but
yeah, I would have been planning the next summer festival so unfazed.
Just spend all year picking out the flowers.
This year we're gonna have floaties in the wine pond.
So there's gonna be a bounce house and jello shots
and jesters.
He tries to go back on his decision, but he's not allowed. Then he tries to organize an assassination of Alexander. That doesn't work. So what does he do? He starts a rumor and he tells everyone that Alexander's really sick. He's just really sick. He's going to die.
Don't go near him.
Don't go near him. Stop liking him so much because he's not long for this world.
And we don't like sick people.
We don't. No, he's not. He can't do anything for you. He's ill. This made people so mad that a riot breaks out because everyone's kind of counting on Alexander being the next emperor.
Over, yeah.
And they all also don't believe Elagabalus. They are demanding to see Alexander and demanding that he proves he's sick.
Literally us with what's her face, Princess
Kate Middleton.
Kate. Nothing ever changes.
This is what I mean. People have always been people and will always be people.
And royalty has always been stupid.
Yeah.
And it should be abolished. So he's like, fuck, I gotta bring Alexander out. So he publicly appears with Alexander and his mother, Julia.
I just am seeing Kate Middleton. I'm sorry.
They didn't have AI back then, so
Which,
we're safe.
if people don't know what we're referencing on extra credit,
could you
know
not?
it. Everyone knows what we're referencing.
No. I meant our personal.
Yeah, we talked about this on extra credit, but everyone knows exactly what we're talking about.
Oh no, I thought Hayley was laughing at how silly we were about it on extra credit. We were basically talking about Kate Middleton, and I said she's probably dead and been killed by her husband.
You were.
And
Alec was I'm 99% sure she's dead.
And the next day, they announced that she had cancer, and everyone was really mad at me.
Yeah.
Also,
Alec had to make a public apology on his Instagram Live.
I'm going to have to make a public apology for last week's extra credit, which was...
Yeah. The extra credits need to be fact checked weekly.
They're usually wrong.
I thought I did fact check.
This is a lesson
fake
in
news.
TikTok not being real news.
Yeah.
Extra credit is now Two Truths, One Lie.
It's gossip hour. Yeah,
Hey.
2 truths, 1 lie.
Haley's extra credit last week was debunked within the hour.
But it sounded believable.
I don't know about that.
We bought into it.
I don't know about that.
I need to meet the person who made it up.
It's so funny how you could just make something up, and if you say it believably
With enough confidence.
yeah, it goes viral and everyone thinks it's true.
And I don't want to leave you guys in the dark, but last week there was a rumor going around.
You got to just go listen to the extra credit. Leave them in the dark.
All right, paywall. Sorry.
So the three of them come out, and when the crowd sees Alexander, they go wild. They're cheering at him. They're like, fuck yes, he's alive. And then Elagabalus comes out, and it's crickets.
He's like, not anymore. Stab, 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 stab.
Well, kind of. He throws like a Joffrey style conniption fit, and he's like, anyone who did this, anyone who disrespected me like this is going to be executed. He's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, dead.
Yeah, if you're smiling, you're done.
Yeah. But
Smiling that he's alive.
But like no one listened to him because they all hated him. So the Praetorian Guard instead attacked Elagabalus and his mother.
Treachery.
Quote, he attempted to flee and would have got away somewhere by being placed in a chest had he not been discovered and slain at the age of 18. His mother, who embraced him and clung tightly to him, perished with him. Their heads were cut off and their bodies were being stripped naked, were first dragged all over the city. Then the mother's body was cast aside somewhere or other while his was thrown in the Tiber.
Oh my God. Who said this?
Some guy from history who wrote about it.
Her body was cast aside, here, there, anywhere.
Yeah.
We threw him in the river.
Done.
What are you gonna do?
Nothing.
Oh my God. Non sequitur, but I thought this was so cool. It's kind of similar because, okay, this was so long ago. And I saw a TikTok today of a family who got new counters put in. And this was on Reddit originally. And they're looking at it and they see what looks like a fossil. And then in these new counters, it's like Trezanine or something. Travertine. And it turns out a mandible from like 20,000 years ago.
What?
That's your jawbone is in this fossil, which has now been turned into their fucking counter. In addition to that, they also saw a femur bone, the top of a femur bone, and these other body parts that are just in these people's countertops.
Dream countertop?
From early hominids. Yes.
Oh my God. Do they have to
Dream
give it to a
countertop.
museum or something? Or do they get to
I
keep
wouldn't.
it?
I would be like, I bought this.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put it on TikTok.
You
Like,
had your chance. I would be taking that shit down immediately.
Chip
Yeah.
and Joanne jump on it. They're like,
Yeah.
this is our Magnolia Early Hominid edition.
It's when I say rustic.
Haunted countertop. That is so cool.
They're like, oh, he has a cavity.
At least you know it's real. Because remember all that controversy going around maybe a few years ago when everyone was getting quartz countertops and then it turned out that there was like glass and plastic and shit in there to cut it.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Anyway, so Elagabalus is dead, and Rome was really quick to undo as many of Elagabalus's social and religious changes as they could. Some things he did stuck around, but most of it, especially having women in the Senate, that was like his main offense, was no more. He was also subjected to damnatio memoriae, which means that all statues and depictions of him were torn down and destroyed, as was any record that portrayed him in a positive light, which is why like we're so suspicious of a lot of accounts about him because like you weren't allowed to say good things about him at the time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And he was obviously really unpopular for a long time, and legends of his brutal human sacrifices and deadly orgies were presented as truth rather than what they probably were, which is propaganda. Like there are a lot of accounts of him, like there was one thing I read about how he had an orgy like where there was like he filled a room with rose petals and then had an orgy in it and people were like smothered to death under the rose petals like that. There's no way that's
a lot
true.
of rose petals.
What?
It's a lot of rose petals to be smothered under them.
And it's like he was so sexually depraved, like people died, and it's like no, he was just like gay or bisexual and you guys are dicks.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
To not be straight.
Right. Get over it. Today, however, much of the discussion around Elagabalus centers on his sexuality and gender. So through this learning journey, I referred to Elagabalus with he, him pronouns. And this was a choice I made because that's how he's referred to in historical records. That's how he's referred to by the vast majority of historians, and also how he was referred to by his contemporaries. However, there is some evidence to suggest that he may have been a trans woman. And the North Hertfordshire Museum in England caused a bit of a stir when on their exhibit about Elagabalus, they used she, her pronouns. And this is based on a classical text that alleges he once said, quote, "Call me not Lord, for I am a lady." He was also known to have worn makeup, women's jewelry, and wigs. and allegedly, according to a source, once publicly offered an incredible sum of money to any surgeon who could alter his genitals into a vagina.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys, trans people, queer people, non-straight people have existed since humanity.
Absolutely.
This is not a new thing.
No, this is not, TikTok is not what's doing this. Definitely not. And so the reason I'm not using she, her pronouns is because, like, while he was certainly queer, like, we know he had male romantic relationships, experts are really conflicted about officially calling him transgender because we don't know whether the claims about Elagabalus's genderqueerness are genuine or if they were attempts to slander him. Because calling someone a woman or wife or mistress or trans or implying that he wanted to be a woman would have been an insult at the time. It still is, unfortunately, but it could have just been people trying to, like, taking a maybe feminine presenting gay man and trying to further slander him, saying he wants to be a woman or he is a woman.
Right. Anything that doesn't come from that person's mouth to describe how they identify themselves shouldn't be used to describe them.
Right. So really, we don't know. It's obviously important to mention.
Yeah.
But we have no idea how they identified. They were, however, absolutely LGBTQ plus and a freaking icon who did not deserve his tragic fate.
Yeah, man. Those times were fucking wild.
Yeah. Seriously.
He had a good time. It sounded like while it lasted.
He went out on a high note.
With a bang.
Like, with the camel races.
Yeah.
With
He didn't
the
get
jewels.
tortured.
No.
It was
And
a fast end.
One thing I read said that, like, he kind of saw his assassination coming, so he planted ways to kill himself, like, all throughout the palace in case he was cornered and, like, needed to off himself instead.
Baby, keep that locket with a little cyanide pill on your neck.
You would think that would be it, but he was so dramatic that he was, like, hanging nooses made of silk around the palace, and he allegedly had, like, a staircase decked out in jewels so that he could, like, throw himself off of it to kill himself. All of this is probably fake, but
I'm sure he probably did have a few
probably had some
plans.
cyanide pills, but other than that, I don't know about the rest of that stuff.
Oh my god.
But yeah, he's a very, very interesting figure, and that is Elagabalus.
Well, thank you for that amazing lesson. We need to
welcome.
bring back the Roman ancient names because they're iconic.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back. This is officially your last chance to get tickets to our first ever live show happening this Saturday, April 20th at the High Tone in Memphis, Tennessee.
We will be performing alongside a number of amazing comedians. Like Hayley said, at High Tone, I zoned out a little bit while you were talking, so I'm not sure what you already covered, but it is going to be at the Good Vibes Comedy Fest this Saturday, April 20th, and we're going on at 10 p.m.
10 p.m. It's going to be amazing. Like we said, we're headlining. This is a first for us. You can also check us out in an article in the Memphis Flyer. You guys, things are happening. And we could not have done it without you all listening. So if you want to listen live,
come see us. We would love, love, love to see you there.
Give it a goog. Memphis, High Tone, Good Vibes Comedy Festival, April 20th of this year, this Saturday. That's all.
See you there.
Bye. Welcome back.
Hello.
So our story about this American castle starts with Francis Bannerman, aka Frank. And Frank was just a baby in 1854 when his family immigrated to the United States from Scotland.
Ooh.
Great Scott.
Scottish.
They settled in Brooklyn, and then the Civil War broke out in 1861.
Ooh, bad timing. At least they were in Brooklyn.
Yeah, things were happening.
Yeah, but not there.
No, but Frank's father did enlist.
Okay, good for him.
In the Union Army. Double good for him.
The only good for him. Wouldn't have been good for him otherwise.
Essentially leaving his wife and children to fend for themselves.
Oh, bad for them.
Well, it's just a roller coaster. Okay. Frank drops out of school. Bad for him. And became a little businessman.
Good for him.
Good for him. He's literally 7 years old.
What? No, he's not.
Yes. He was
I was wondering why you said a little businessman.
because he's little.
He's a literal baby.
He's literally little. He's 7 years old when he's taught to attend naval auctions,
No.
purchase goods, and then sell them for profit.
He's so cute. How could you say no?
You can't. And he's really good at it. I guess they didn't need naval supplies for the Civil War.
Yeah, I guess. There's a river.
There was not a ton of, I think, naval fighting.
The Mississippi.
But I don't know. All I know is that he did really well in this business and accumulated an extensive arsenal of Navy supplies.
I wish I was born back then, because if a 7-year-old can become a wealthy businessman in the 1850s, think of what we could do. Everyone must have been so fucking stupid that a 7-year-old could just run laps around them.
Boss Baby
There were
3,
no rules.
Civil War.
Well, you had to be of the male gender. You had to be white. And that was pretty much your ticket.
There was no like age.
There's no age limit for sure. There's no ageism in the 1800s. We've got racism and sexism down. Those are the two strongholds.
Ageism is apparently a new invention.
They've got a monopoly on the market. So he's doing really well. And when his father returns home safely from war, he has enough to start a company. And they open a brick and mortar store in 1872.
Selling naval supplies?
Yeah,
Who's buying that?
Off the gridders, maybe. Which is basically
what
everyone
is a Navy
then.
supply?
It's, I don't know, what, guns
Like
and
boats?
cannons? No, it's like war, like gun
But like just for
stuff.
the Navy?
Yeah, that's what he started
Like
with.
boats.
But it's not just boat. It's not boats. It's like
It's like all the
weapons.
food and clothing and bedding that they order for the
Yeah.
Navy that they have a surplus of. They sell it to the public.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Crutches, eye patches,
Vitamin C
Parrots.
supplements.
lime,
Yeah. Quinine.
Sleep masks.
Dramamine.
Oh, I would need all the Dramamine.
This goes really well after they open the brick and mortar store, and they have to open more stores to accommodate for demands. Their most famous and largest store took up an entire block in New York City. This is 40,000 square feet.
And a 7-year-old is their CEO in the ivory tower
Well,
playing
at
on his
this time-
iPad.
Updating his LinkedIn Premium.
He has all his webkins like sitting around him in his boardroom.
Club Penguin. He's like, you guys don't know shit about Navy supplies. He would probably harvest their skin to make a nice warm coat for sailing in the Atlantic. Penguins, they'd make a good coat, right?
Yeah, probably.
I think so. But in 1872, in all seriousness, he is 18 years old. He was like born in 1854 to 1872. That's 18, right?
I
Yeah,
blacked
it's
out when
18.
you said numbers.
It's
I don't
18
know.
years old.
Okay.
You're supposed to be the math teacher, goddammit.
Listen, my degree is not in math.
And it
And
never
it's
will
abundantly
be.
clear.
Somebody take away her license
Yeah.
immediately.
I don't know how I'm certified to be a math teacher. Literally, it's so dumb. You just need a bachelor's degree in anything, and you need to pass one test.
It's the American education
Yeah.
system. We lucked out.
Somebody let me do this.
So Frank is 18 years old. They have this massive store, and it also serves as a museum because they have all of this really old weaponry too. Frank the businessman decides to create a catalog of their inventory,
Smart.
including sketches of everything. And then in 1898, the Spanish-American War ended. And this allowed Frank to buy up all of the surplus explosives.
So he's selling ammunition in a store the size of a city block. To who?
I don't know.
Okay.
Someone, because it was going well.
Yeah.
In fact, he bought up 90% of all the weaponry that the U.S. captured during the Spanish-American War.
Why is the military
Why is it
so
for
weird?
sale?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I will tell you that this purchase included black powder. A lot of
What's
black
black
powder.
powder?
It's an explosive.
Okay.
So he was in to make a lot of money if he could turn around and sell it. But one small problem, the locals in Brooklyn were terrified that all of this black powder would ignite and burn down the neighborhood.
You have to sell it straight to Russia and North Korea. They want it.
And I heard there's another big war or two coming up soon in the 1900s. They'll need it.
Yeah.
Someone will need it. So he was actually forced by the city to move outside of the city limits.
Okay, good.
And yeah, luckily either he or his son, we're not really sure, spotted a small island called Pollepel Island in the middle of the Hudson River.
Okay.
It was secluded, it was rocky, and it's also believed to be haunted.
Hell yeah. That's all you need.
It was perfect. Ravenous storms often rained upon the area with these howling winds. And according to all that's interesting, Hudson Valley legend says Dutch sailors in the 17th and 18th centuries attributed these storms to a sinister goblin king.
Cute.
Who resided on the island.
Oh my God.
But he wasn't
What was his
alone,
name?
though. Okay, I don't know. What?
Okay.
Let me tell you this about him, and then we can pick a name.
Okay.
So legend says the goblin ruled over imps who could summon the storms in order to, like, mischievously fuck up sailors' days as they passed by.
I want to live there.
I literally feel like it's me with Safdie and Baby. I'm the goblin. They're the imps.
That is so cute.
And
someone
instead of
paint a picture of Haley as the
As a
goblin,
goblin.
with the cats as her imps.
The cats are summoning cat litter into all of my house
Gross.
and dirt from outside. We have to vacuum like every day. You guys don't?
No, the cat litter doesn't really leave because we have a whole room dedicated to the
That's
litter
true.
boxes, so it kind of stays in there.
Spoiled brats.
I vacuum 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay,
Yeah, it's pretty consistent.
Alec does most of the chores around here. God bless him.
He's a brother husband. Or
A brother husband.
husband.
He's
a house
a house
husband.
husband.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
What's the country
He
song?
works
It's
from
like,
home.
He's a single mom.
That works 2 jobs.
Vacuums 4 times a week.
Meanwhile, I'm scraping gum off the floor of my classroom. So,
Ew.
you know,
Why'd you give
we
them
do
gum?
chores. I don't give them gum. Have you ever
Got
tried
you.
it to stop middle schoolers from chewing gum? They're going to find a way to chew gum.
Yeah, there's just something so good about it, you know? It gets you
When
through
you're
the
not
class.
allowed to do it, it makes you want to do it more, which
Yeah.
is why I stopped banning it. And then suddenly they don't chew gum as much.
Reverse psychology,
It
those
is.
bitches.
Did you guys ever stick gum to the bottom of a desk?
No.
I never did that.
But
they
people
were,
do it.
but they were covered in
People
them.
do it. The kids do it. There's always gum underneath my desk.
Who's doing this?
I don't know.
And then you touch it on accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You flip a
disgusting.
table in a school and it's just completely
Yeah.
covered.
They're the frontal
For
lobe.
why? For
is
what?
Not developed yet. Because you don't want to ask if you can throw away your gum in the trash because you're not allowed to have it. So you like slyly stick it under the table. At least that's what I assume the thought process is.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, children do fucking gross things.
Children are an enigma.
They do all the grossest things. And I have to tell them that that's gross. And that's when they first learn that something
it's
they're doing is
gross.
gross and they need to stop.
Y'all, if you have kids, take notes now.
Tell them when they're doing something gross so they don't do it in my classroom.
You don't have to gentle parent all the time. There are some very good methods, but when they're being gross,
you can gentle parent while telling someone what they're doing
that they're
is
being
gross.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Little rats.
You don't have to say you are disgusting. You say you are being disgusting. That behavior is
that
disgusting.
action is disgusting.
And I would
You
like
want
it if
friends,
you would
right?
stop. Yeah, you don't want people to be disgusted by you, do you? So stop fucking sticking gum under the table.
Some of my coworkers last Friday, about 20 minutes before our office closed for the day, where they all have kids and they're talking about like how difficult it can be to raise children, and they looped me into it somehow.
And you're like, yeah, I have 2 cats. I understand.
I like dissociated and went on this full rant about why I don't think I want kids and why I think it's a terrible decision for myself.
You're not supposed to tell that to people in a conversation about their kids.
Well, they were talking about how bad it is.
Yeah, you're just agreeing with them.
I was agreeing, but then I got done talking and was like, maybe I should not have gone so hard with the anti-kids. But one of them really did agree with me. She was like, I fucking regret it.
I think that's more common than people are willing to admit. Regarding having kids.
Yeah. I mean, even my mom herself has said, so like, long story short, my mom and dad got married. They bought a house, had kids because it's what they thought they should have done, what they thought the steps were. But my mom has often been like, I don't feel maternal. We have a great relationship now as adults. But she has expressed that she maybe like wasn't ready or wasn't prepared to be a mother. And I think it's more normalized. Who could be?
And I think it's a big responsibility that no one can do it perfectly.
Absolutely.
Your kids are going to be fucked up in some way.
One way or another. And it's okay if you don't want to take on parenthood.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you do and you're like, man, this is really hard. Because it is.
I have so much respect for parents, especially parents who also work with kids as their career.
Yeah.
Because I work with kids. I love kids. I love my job. I love being with the kids from 7:15 to 3:15. And then I go home and I don't have to be around kids. Mm-hmm. Like I'm grateful that I have a break. And I feel like if I had to come home to even my own kids, I would mentally snap. Like, I don't know. I was thinking about it today. It's just like they need so much from you. And like, that's fully within their right. They're children. They do need a lot from you. But like being in the classroom and having 30 kids asking something of you constantly, like it really wears you down. And I'm grateful that I can come home and not. Like, I can just live for me and not have people asking me for things.
Yeah, once you
It'd
have
be
a
hard
kid
to come home and that be your reality at home, too.
Yeah, because it's really not about you anymore. You do have to take care of yourself in order to take care of other people.
Right, but they still need you. Mm-hmm. They need you for everything.
Like, that's the immediate thing.
Yeah. And, like, again, I'm not blaming children. They're children. They need things. But it does take a toll on you.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and stay-at-home moms, too, who are with their kids 24/7. That also takes a toll on you.
Shout out to
and
y'all
stay-at-home
parents.
dads, too. I didn't mean to just say moms.
Stay-at-home parents.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys. Shout out to all parents. Who knows if we'll ever get there?
Yeah, this got really deep for no reason. I'm sorry.
For what?
For no
Why
reason.
Did we do that?
I've had maybe a little too much wine. I've refilled once. Yeah.
Well, let me get back into the story here. So Frank finds this island, and as far as he's concerned, it's perfect. He reaches out to the owner. Mary Taft of Cornwall owns the island, and she agrees to allow him to purchase it under one condition, is that no alcohol be stored or sold from this island.
Is that because of the explosives or because of her personal beliefs?
I think her personal beliefs.
Okay.
Prohibition was not happening yet at all. And he's like, yeah, no worries. I just have black powder and weaponry.
Yeah, no big deal or anything.
Yeah,
Also,
it's fine.
how is she going to stop him from
How are you
having
gonna
alcohol
know?
there? Yeah.
Literally, how are you going to know? I'm going to drink my wine. You're going to sit pretty with this new money, because he puts down $600 cash with $1,000 mortgage, and construction began immediately in December 1900. They erected a 3-story weapons arsenal, a small dock, and housing for the workers. And Frank is like, you know what would make this even more profitable? If we just turn the building into a billboard. So...
Who's going to see it? It's on an island.
yeah, boats passing by will see it, but that's about it.
So why?
He is eccentric,
Okay.
and you'll see more of that in a minute.
His niece is an artist, and like he just needed to give her some work, commission a billboard on the side of the building.
And it's a very simple billboard, but it's effective. He paints the 3-story building white, and then in like red burgundy letters in all caps, it's like Bannerman's Military Magazine, and then on the other side it's like collectibles, blah, 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 whatever.
We sell bombs and explosives.
Yeah,
to
U.S. government,
civilians.
you should be scared.
You should not have given this to me.
This is literally a red flag. But it goes well, and his
Okay.
collection grows, and with more business coming in and going out, he was required to make a harbor for the ships. And Frank is like, I'm going to work smarter, not harder.
not harbor.
Not harder.
Ah.
He buys up the water property around the island, and he
Wait,
sinks...
he didn't have the water property, but he had the
No.
island?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't
That's not
understand how
rare, is
anything
it?
works. I don't know.
I don't know either, actually. But he ends up buying the water property, and he sinks wooden railway barges with rocks in order to make a border around the harbor and create a water break.
Okay.
And he also needed more arsenals on the island. So this is where he gets really creative. And over the course of months, on old envelopes, letters, basically any piece of paper that was near him, Frank started sketching his dream arsenal in the form of a castle.
What's an arsenal?
Like storage for weaponry.
Okay.
And he may not be a designer or an architect, but he's definitely going for aesthetics here.
Okay. So are we talking like a medieval castle?
Yes,
Okay,
precisely.
We have a moat. We have some
There
towers.
are no 90 degrees angles on this design at all.
Oh.
It is intricate. It is like Scottish inspired from his homeland. It is a legit castle that he's designing.
Wow. Do we have stained glass?
Probably.
Do we have a
There's
princess
glass for
with
sure.
really long hair?
Well, he has 2 sons.
Okay. One of them could
They could fill in.
do it.
I mean, I've been known to gender bend if I need to during play situations.
Have you?
Yeah, during like
When?
imaginative play as a kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought you meant like in theater. I was like, when did you do a play?
I mean, I did do plays.
You did? When?
Yeah, I was in like our community acting group.
Okay.
It wasn't a part. I wasn't in like high school, but
Yeah.
in 7th and 8th grade. No, I did do a play in 8th grade. I played a teddy bear then.
Nice. I did community theater when I was in middle school too. Really? Oh my God.
How have we never talked about
I don't
this?
know.
My biggest memory from this, from like community theater in middle school, was when I jokingly said something about bimbos, and I didn't really know what it meant. And the girl who was like a grade ahead of me, and she was like a cool girl, was like, "Do you even know what that means?" And I could have melted right there. I
Yeah,
was
don't
like,
you hate
"No,
that?"
I don't know what bimbos means.
That's like I had my friend's son in my classroom a while ago. I think I told you this story, but he it was like a parent teacher night, and so she had her kid there, and he ended up in my room hanging out, and he was telling me that he seduced his friend and he's like 8. I was like,
did you?
You don't know what that means. He's like, no, I don't know what that means. And then I was trying to like in kid friendly terms explain to him what seduce meant, and then his mom walked in, and I was like,
oh my God,
this does not look
Tap
good.
in.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
Yeah. No,
Here you
I think I
go.
said when two people, or like when somebody like has a crush on another person and they try to get them to like them back. I think that's what I
think
said.
you nailed it.
But I was like, this is just so random.
I would have been like, you know what sex is, right? I believe in talking to children as if they're adults.
No sugarcoating.
That's how you make them smarter. No baby talk.
My co-star today told me in my don'ts was sugarcoat.
Tell it how it is.
And in my co-star today too, because we're friends, it said that you're needing extra support. So I want you to know I support you.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
never
welcome.
check co-star.
I never
need
do
to.
either, but my mom sent me my birth certificate recently, so I went into all my astrology apps and just like made sure that my time of birth was accurate.
I'm so dead. What is your birth time?
4:10 p.m.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
That's like you give
It's
birth.
like the end of the workday, and then you can go
chill.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
she may have been in labor like all night
For a
and through the
long
day.
time.
So that sucks.
Had
Sorry,
to,
Mom.
Had to get that baby out so she could light one up at 4:20.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the motivator.
Sorry.
Love it. All right, let me continue on with this lesson, I guess. So he wants to build a castle. He's sketching up all of these things. And he's like, you know what? Why don't we just add living quarters to the arsenal? He adds this tower to his extremely amateur yet elaborate design. And this is where Frank and his wife Helen live, complete with an outhouse built not for one, but for two. Yes, sir. What? You can shit with your sweetheart in this castle outhouse.
Who would want anything more? Why not build 2
Shrek
outhouses?
and Fiona?
Why not build 2 outhouses? You have the resources.
You get 69 on the outhouse.
No, there was a fetish happening, and nobody would want to do that without ulterior motives.
Yeah, that would be like a test.
I cannot.
To see if everything's okay.
Yeah. Also, what a dream to live in a castle.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. It's like Kat
It's
Von D
dreamy.
is definitely a controversial figure, but her interior decorating skills are
She
top
has an
notch.
eye for design.
You gotta give it to her where she's earned it.
We're getting canceled for sure.
Listen, I admire her home. That's
Fair
it.
enough. Fair enough. So there were actually never any official building plans, like no architecture planned out this castle. The Masons just looked at Frank's sketches and built it.
That's amazing.
They absolutely killed this shit. Like when you think of a castle, that's what it is. We don't have Wi-Fi right now, so I can't really look at it. But this only goes on to solidify Frank's reputation. And then World War II broke out, just as construction was starting to wrap up. And Frank's supplies, he decided, weren't just going to sit on the shelves. Frank outfitted the entire Scottish regiment and sent other supplies via barge to the Belgium War Relief, all out of his own pocket. Philanthropic or not, the U.S. government took notice of Frank shipping war supplies and
it's
weaponry worldwide.
Hello, U.S. government, who sold him these in the first place.
Y'all just
look
got
in the
here?
mirror. You're the problem. It's you.
You just got the notification?
Yeah.
What the actual fuck?
Maybe when you sell 90% of your weapons to a private individual,
What is
you
he gonna
shouldn't do
with
that.
it?
Maybe you shouldn't do
You
that.
guys, come on. An investigation began.
Oh,
And
now they should investigate themselves.
They should, but that would be crass. For 2 months, U.S. Navy personnel occupied the island to keep an eye on things. And to them, the only thing that was giving red flag
Was the outhouse?
the outhouse and the island's superintendent, Charlie Kovacs. Charlie was an Austrian, and Austria was a part of the Central Powers in World War I. So the U.S. government is like, oh my God, is
There's an Austrian in the building?
in
What if
Hudson River?
What if he was an Australian and they just got mixed up?
And it was a typo?
Yeah.
They're like, is he a spy? Is he a traitor? And is Frank involved?
Or does he just like kangaroos?
Jax. They arrested Charlie under this
Not
suspicion.
fair.
But they released him because there was literally no evidence to support their theory. And Frank was pissed. So he wrote to his friend, FDR. Ever heard of him?
I have.
Who was Is he on Mount Rushmore?
Who knows?
Teddy is. FDR is not.
FDR was acting secretary of the Navy at the time. So eventually, everyone involved was exonerated, but it ends up leaving this stain on Frank's reputation, and his health goes downhill pretty rapidly. Before construction was complete on his castle, he died in 1918.
R.I.P.
Oh, so this was World War One,
Yeah.
not two.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. You said two a couple times.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Me either.
Because I was clocking up. I was like, wow, he's like in his 70s or 80s.
Are you sure she said 2?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oops. I meant one. It was World War One, indeed.
I figured you meant one,
yeah.
but I was
Yeah.
just over here doing the math of like, wow, he's an old
Holy
guy.
shit, he's old as fuck.
I didn't
No.
hear you say 2 at all.
Okay, well, play the tape back. Let's see. So Frank's sons take over the business for 2 years until this crazy fire breaks out because one of the powder houses exploded.
Well, yeah.
I know I'm saying
It's not
this
so
like,
crazy.
can you believe it?
I think I can.
Debris was shot over 20 miles away.
Ooh.
All of the windows were blown out, and then the castle fell into disrepair.
Aw.
The sons sold off what they could. They left the castle to fend for itself against the elements, and the island was pretty much forgotten. But in 1969, another fire broke out, sending flames 50 to 70 feet high, and this fire burned for 3 days straight. Officials were there, but once they got to the island, they just let it burn. Because what the fuck else are you gonna do?
Yeah, you can't stop it.
And it fell into further disrepair. Not much remained after this except for like the exterior walls of the castle. And then in the 90s, a trust formed and they went in, they like reinforced the walls of the castle and revitalized the island for tourism, which you can still visit to this day.
Cool.
And that is the little history of Bannerman's Island.
Bravo.
Thank
That's
you.
cool.
I thought so too. Next up, we have KFC Castle.
We got to build it first.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going
a
to
work in
build my
progress.
side off of Beyond Meat.
Yeah, we should do all vegetarian.
Oh, okay. Good
Yeah,
idea.
I think that would be
It's
good.
less
It would
gross.
probably last longer too.
Maybe.
I think meat would probably go bad pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could build it. Maybe we make some like Polly Pocket style versions of fried chicken so that it's just pure plastic.
Oh.
And then we can like chew on it if we want to.
Yeah.
You're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, the
You like a
rubbery
good
stuff,
chewy.
the
Yeah.
Polly Pocket clothes
It hits.
are pretty good.
Oh my God. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Please check out our Patreon. We're going to go record extra credit. Please check out the Memphis Flyer by Abby, where we are featured to support the Good Vibes Comedy Festival here in Memphis. And of course, come and see us there. That'll be April 20th, if you haven't learned already. That is this upcoming Saturday. And we cannot thank you all enough for listening and supporting the show. and helping us get to where we have been. It has been a fast 4 years of doing Night Classy.
It really has. Time is not real.
And we're almost done.
No, we're not. Don't listen to her.
I'm just kidding. All right. We love you guys. We'll see
Love
you
you.
on Patreon or wherever. Okay, bye.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
Class
dismissed.